Hey there, my amigos. Today, I'm going to be trying a new little series that I've had in the brain workshopping for a little bit. And that is going to be, should I make X class? And this is because I see frequently a lot of posts online, Reddit, forums, talk about, just should I make this class as an alt, or which class is good for alt, etc., etc. And I mean, I have a very expansive roster. I can give fairly good, what I hope to be unbiased opinions on a lot of these classes. Obviously, I need to make the disclaimer that any opinion of mine is just that, an opinion. I mean, everybody has an opinion, which is why I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible. And today we're going to start with Soulfist, which happens to be my main. So, while I can't talk from an alt perspective, I can definitely talk from what this class requires to make it feel good and play well. So, before we get on to the meat and potatoes, if you guys like my content, a subscribe would really help the channel grow. I'm trying my best to get things up and running here. And yeah, really just thank you guys. Alright, so another disclaimer before we start this. My main is a Soulfist, not a surprise there. I have only played Robust Spirit from the beginning. From start to finish, I have been Robust Spirit. So I cannot speak super authoritatively on Energy Overflow. I know how it plays, I know how it feels a little bit as I've messed around in Trixion. However, I've never played it for any substantial content or meaningful amount of time. But what I can definitely address is Robust Spirit. Now let's head over to, oops, I know how to play this game. Let's head over to the training ground, and we can just sort of take a look at the sort of skill set we have here. So, Soulfist as a whole. What is Soulfist's identity? It is the hype meter. What is the hype meter? It is... Let me take Robust Spirit off. So the hype meter is 3 different levels that do different stuff. So we go into Hype 1. It gives us more energy per tick, which is like game refresh. So like, you see, every time it ticks up, it gives more energy regen. Lower cooldowns, faster attack speed, more damage dealt. Pretty self-explanatory. You can press X to end it early, and you can see the bar ticks down. Hype 1 lasts for 90 seconds, which is the longest. Hype 2 will last for less. Hype 3 will last for less. And every hype level you go into increases the cooldown period after you go out of hype. So for 1, you can see it's very quick. And then for something like 3, it is a lot slower. So, Hype 1 is that. Hype 2, you get a little bit stronger, more energy, more damage, more attack speed. And then same for Hype 3. So, this is a mechanic that you're gonna have to manage if you play Energy Overflow. And then for Robust Spirit, which is the one I have played since the beginning, you just go into Hype 3 immediately. This is a much more burst-oriented sort of spec, and Energy Overflow is, I wouldn't say super consistent damage, but it's definitely a lot more consistent damage than Robust Spirit, but it can still, I mean, it still heavily factors around your energy release windows, because, I mean, this is just the main way my class does damage, like Soulfist. Like, let's pop open a boss here. So, like, let's just go into Hype and then just use our skills. So, like, this is the damage I'm doing without energy release, right? I mean, the numbers look pretty sad, honestly. But now let's do energy release. You can see just the insane difference this buff makes. And yeah. So for Robust Spirit, all our damage comes from energy release windows, basically. And for energy overflow, you have a lot more abilities that you're using in between energy release windows, so you're doing damage still while not in energy release, but you still do significantly more damage in that release window. Why does this matter? Well, it feels a lot less punishing if you're playing energy overflow when you miss things, right? Like, if I pop this, and then I do this, and then immediately get knocked down, which happens plenty, I'm not going to be like, oh no, this is the end of the world. Because, I mean, this is our, most damaging ability. And it's like, getting knocked down immediately after using energy release on this is pretty not good feeling. On top of the fact that, I mean, being knocked down while this is ticking, you're losing time to get boosted windows for your other abilities. Basically, TLDR, not good. Let's talk about Robust Spirit a little bit as an alt character. Would I recommend Robust Spirit? I'll just go off the dome. No. Do not make a Robust Spirit Soulfist as a character that you're only planning on playing lightly. Why do I say this? This character almost made me quit the game. It was the most unfun experience I had ever had. Getting it to where it is now was hell, basically. There's no nice way to say it. What makes this class start to feel good is when you get around this amount of spec, because your cooldowns, basically, I have a level 10 energy release cooldown gem, level 7 and 8s for the rest, 1623 spec. This is like the bare minimum to make it feel good. And what I mean by that is, like, let's look here. So I'm doing my rotation. Nothing crazy here. Just doing my rotation. Keep up adrenaline stacks. Throwing a Force Orb. Now you see, I get 2 energy releases in 1 hype. And I don't even get all my abilities in it, but I get very close. And if I had better tripods and a little bit higher gems, I could definitely fit 2 full windows in it. And the reason this matters is because it's like a significant damage increase and just like playability increase almost. Because in content like Guardian raids or just Legion raids in general, outside of hype, like when you're not in hype, the only skills you're really going to be using is like Force Orb and Palm. Maybe Shadow Breaker if you used it very early on in the cooldown window. But like, see, let's test this again. Let's use Force Orb, Palm, Shadow Breaker. Let's see how the cooldowns line up with a hype. Let's take a look. So Force Orb comes up before it's up. And then Shadow Breaker will be up by the time you want to use it, and so will Palm. So basically, those are the skills you can use. You might be able to use Fit Barrier into, but might be closer. So it's like... Let's do a full cycle here. That's a Force Orb outside hype. Then keep stacks up. You can do another Force Orb. because it'll be up. And that's kind of what it looks like for me right now. Like, that's, like, the ideal rotation, pretty much. So you'll notice you're not casting very many skills outside of hype, and that's because you don't really do damage outside of hype. Like, you can auto-attack and, like, cast Force Orb to pretend like you're doing something, but, I mean, you're doing damage, but it's not a significant amount of damage, so it's like, whatever. But basically, this is all relevant because the hype cooldown scales off of spec. And what are you going to have a lot of if it's your main? Well, I mean, you're going to have the most care and love put into your gear, so you're going to have the most spec. Can you play Robust Spirit as an alt? Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to cost you more than it would some other alts, which is, again, why this video is existing in the first place. Energy Overflow, on the other hand, is a swiftness spec, main spec, and it is... I mean, it's just better for an alt. There's no way around it. The big thing with Energy Overflow is the fact that you have to learn how to manage hype and know when to go into what level of hype. Like, you pretty much always immediately go into hype 2 with Energy Overflow. Like, there's no, like, real reason not to. But it's like, going into hype 3 at a wrong time and locking yourself out of the massive... Like, my cooldown's still sped up because I have spec, but if I... Here, let me take the spec away. Let's... So now I have 0 spec. Well, let's give myself, like, 50 spec, because that's how much I'd have from pots or whatever. Let's do that. So... this is what it would look like. Like, you're locking yourself out for a very long time. And that is not fun. So, if you are somebody who doesn't like long periods of not doing things, essentially, then, again, I don't think Soulfist is really for you. Robust Spirit, certainly not. Energy Overflow, again, it's a swiftness class, a lot more spammy. You can press buttons a lot more without feeling like you're being punished or for missing or, you know, stuff like that. In essence, what about the Chaos Dungeon clears? I mean, it clears Chaos Dungeons fine. Basically, you just spam your skills, nothing crazy. Put on Crippling Barrier and just... that. Nothing more to it, really. It's a fine Chaos Dungeon clear. Ultimately, I would not recommend Soulfist as an alt. A Robust Spirit, at least, certainly not. Energy Overflow, I still don't think I would recommend. Unless you wanted to make it, like, one of your main alts, then I think you could definitely make it work. But outside of that, I would not recommend, generally, Soulfist for an alt. Because, yes, the numbers are nice, but you're not going to be hitting these numbers or make the class feel good. Because this is, like I said, like the bare minimum for it to feel good to me. And I'm somebody who's played Robust Spirit Soulfist since level 1. Like, I have always been this. And my god, does this shit suck ass without this level of, like, setup. And, I mean, I can do, like, a 1 minute with no awakening just for funsies. But it's like, yes, the burst damage is very good. But for an alt, you're probably not going to be seeing these numbers. Because, again, it's not like you can just make the class put on 2 engravings and then just kind of smash your way to victory kind of deal. You know what I mean? And I think that's really what I look for in an alt, is just like ease of playability, ease of access, How much do I need to put into them to make them feel good? How much do I need to put into them to make them feel playable? And how expensive are they? And I mean, since Soulfist is a spec class, you can kind of imagine it is not exactly the cheapest class on the block, but Robust Spirit is fun, bursty, energy overflow, very spammy, still bursty because of energy release, but ultimately, I would not recommend it. If you guys liked the video, you have any suggestions for other video ideas, or just opinions on the class, the things that I've said, love to hear it in the comments. In any case, I will at least make a couple more videos on this series and see how it does, see how you guys like it, see what works, what doesn't. And I had some talking points that I wanted to go over. I think I got through them. I'll try to figure it out as I go, hopefully make these better as I go. In any case, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, dislike if you dislike. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!